A recent guest of ours, former Chelsea player John Obi Mikel, he has a similar podcast and tries to attract similar big names. Of course, when you played for somebody like Jose Mourinho, you stand a chance of getting him on your podcast, and that's exactly what John Obi Mikel did. So Mourinho on the podcast that's known as Obi-Wan Mikel podcast, he came away with a bunch of things, not least his time at Tottenham, which, as we know, came to a fairly abrupt end in the very week that Tottenham were due to appear in a League Cup final. And Mourinho didn't miss having a pop at Spurs and your mate Daniel Levy.
But I would have asked him, is it true that the players got so fed up with you that they went to the owner and said they didn't want to play for you anymore?
Do you think he ever asks himself why he got binned at Tottenham just before they played a final?
I think he knows why he got binned at Tottenham. I just think there's two faces to everybody, more often than not. There's a media face, and there's the face behind the scenes of being able to attend to the circumstances you find yourself in. What's he going to do? It's not Jose Mourinho's stock in trade, neither should it be, quite frankly, for him to be self-effacing. His stock in trade has been to walk into a room and go, I'm not one from the bottle. I'm a special one. And then to antagonise everybody by delivering precisely what he said he was going to deliver, which had been unheard of at the time. He was the Muhammad Ali of football management. He walked in a room and told everybody what he was going to do. He told everybody he was the greatest thing and went about proceeding to prove that point.
But that only went for a limited period of time.
Well, I mean,
is he still considered a Premier League legend, or is he a tainted icon of the modern era?
Well, I don't know why he'd be tainted. I mean, he went to Porto, won the league, won a European competition for them. He came to Chelsea, did precisely the same thing, won the Premier League for them, didn't win a European competition.
That's when it went well.
Then he went to Inter Milan, produced a side in Inter Milan that was remarkable.
Yeah.
Right? Then he went to Madrid, did significant things at Madrid. Then he came to Man United, and he won the UEFA Cup with Man United and the League Cup with Man United and put them second in the league. Second is nothing, but notwithstanding, compared to what this little dross is doing at this moment in time, it's probably quite commendable. And what? So what's the Tottenham story? So as we're seeing his career...
But he left, it was a toxic atmosphere when he left United. Otherwise, you wouldn't have left.
What, toxic? I tell you what, by the very...
You constantly cane him for not getting into a property and not getting a house up in that part of the world.
That was at United, yeah. It was positively harmonious compared to the dross that Conte served up, wasn't it? We talk about toxic at Tottenham. I mean, it was positively, sweetness and light compared to what Conte dispensed.
But it ended badly at Tottenham, didn't it?
Did. And it was always going to end badly, I suspect.
I'm not on his back, but I look at it now.
And
I think, could you possibly say he's a Premier League legend? Is he a Premier League legend?
How can he not be?
Probably for what he did in his first attempt at Chelsea.
Well, he won the league twice with Chelsea.
3 times. It was probably a mistake to go back to Chelsea, right?
Didn't he win the league with him again?
But was it not a mistake? I mean, do you revisit...
Did he win the league with him again?
But on that, one occasion. I don't know. I'm getting vacant faces through the glass. But is he not now merely regarded as a tainted icon of the modern era because he's still managing?
But why?
Well, look at what's going on in Roma. So Roma at the weekend, just in the passing, they lose to Bologna 2-0. So there we go with that. But at the end of last season, they lose the Europa League final. Having won the Europa Conference League the season before, I get that. But they lose the Europa League final to Sevilla. And there was the bust-up with Anthony Taylor, which was very public with the referee
poor behaviour.
in the car park.
That's poor behaviour.
And Taylor and his family then ran the gauntlet because Mourinho, not just because of what Mourinho said, but Taylor then landed in big trouble.
It's poor behaviour.
With everybody that chased him down at the airport.
Mourinho got consequence for that behaviour.
Mourinho was part of that. But Mourinho recently still says, I don't regard the fact that we lost to Sevilla in the final, I don't see it as a loss on our history books.
Well, that's fine. That's his perspective. That's how he wants to face the media. If that's how he wants to be. It depends upon how you ask the question. It depends how big the balls of the person that's asking the question of him. Don't be absurd. It's a loss. You've won games that will be on the statute book on the polar opposite of this, and you'll have taken that as a win, so you take this as a loss. Don't be deluded. But because people won't have those conversations with these guys because it'll either deny them access or they don't have the courage to say it, then these conversations never get had. Mourinho is two animals, categorically two animals. He's one in front of the media and one away from the media. I've seen him in the boardroom at Palace when he was a Chelsea manager. I've met him in London a few times and seen him out and about, and he's come in here once. And he's a very accommodating,
very
polite,
engaging,
charming. When he's in the business of football, there's a different animal in there. It's like suggesting that these gentle giants that go into boxing rings that punched the bejesus out of one another can sit across this room and have a very civilised conversation with one another before a fight. They're different animals. I think that irrespective of some of the poor performances and some of the poor behaviour that Jose has put in, his body of work from winning, from Porto to Chelsea to Inter Milan to Real Madrid to Manchester United is worthy.
It didn't. Manchester United, it did not end well. It was toxic at the end.
Manchester United didn't end well because, for a variety of reasons, I suspect, because Mourinho wasn't as. I think Mourinho had things in his background which
we couldn't wait to get him out.
Yes, I think that's probably right in the end.
And it was the same at Tottenham.
Yeah, I think that's probably right in the end.
And it'll probably end up in the same at Roma.
And when you bring Jose Mourinho into a football club, you got to give him what he wants, or don't have him there. And that's the price on the ticket, whether you like it or you don't. If I'm going to employ Jose Mourinho, I'm better be damn sure that I'm going to give him precisely what he wants when he wants it. Otherwise, what's the point of having him here? And he better be damn sure he's going to deliver with it.
Yeah.
Because if he doesn't, then he's going to have a problem with me. And if I don't do what I suggested that I'm going to do when I jumped into the relationship with him, then I'm going to have a problem with him. No, I don't think it was great. I think Mourinho had problems in his personal life with the fact I think his father was unwell, but I think he should have been made to be living in the Manchester area and be part of the culture that is indigenous culture surrounding Manchester United, involved in the fabric. I think he was half-baked in that job, but they won the UEFA Cup. They came second in the league. They won the League Cup. Now, you'd bite your arm off for that. Okay, they won the League Cup last year, so let's give them context now. But I do think that now we're seeing the back end of Mourinho's career domestically. I think Roma is a great club in Italy. It's one of the primary clubs in Italy, but to get it where he wants to get it, which is to win the leagues, I don't think that's going to happen with them, irrespective of the American billionaire they've got behind that football club.
Yeah.
I think with great genius and with great personality, look at the people that we've had in our times. I'm not suggesting that you compare Mourinho to Alex Higgins or to George Best or to people of that nature because of the problems that they had in their lives, but they were also personalities that were quite irascible, quite difficult to deal with, quite erratic, but steeped in genius, right? So with that comes the other side of it. And I personally think that Mourinho is one of the greatest managers that we've ever seen. I really do. I think he's a great, great manager.
Do you think we'll see that demonstrated at Roma?
It depends. Well, great managers win leagues.
He's not showing it at the moment.
I don't think he can win the league in Italy.
No.
With Roma.
No. They're 8th.
Well,
way behind Inter.
But hold on, they lost. If they've lost one game, it dropped them from 4th to 8th, right? So there's points in that. I mean, it's so close in that particular league, isn't it?
Yeah.
So they win a game, they'll go back up to 4th again.
But not surprisingly, discipline is a problem. And when you see some of the names that are involved,
I think that's
Paredes. Leandro Paredes, we remember him in the World Cup, the Argentinian.
I think if we look at
the melee with the Dutch.
I think you can look at anybody in the
Pellegrini,
rounds.
The captain, can lose it quite regularly does.
You can look at anything in the rounds, right? You can look back if you wanted to. One of the greatest managers that ever drew breath in this country is Brian Clough. If we want to look back on him now and some of the things that happened around him, we could turn around and say, did he tarnish his reputation?
I know, true.
Jose Mourinho, without a shadow of a doubt, in the Premier League area, in the era of rock and roll football, which is from the 2000s, is right at the top of the tree.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the TalkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. TalkSPORT.